And a good morning to you, Lagos. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. But right now, it's 6:45, which means it's time to delve into the world of business inside Business Express. Rotus is here to help us with just that. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Folu. Good morning, Lagos, and everybody out there.
Excellent stuff. Good to have you here. And Lagos, do you remember join us in the conversation? Send those messages to WhatsApp 0809 4440981 or tweet at us. The hashtag to use is Business Express 981. Don't forget, we're streaming live on YouTube.
All right, thank you so much. So the market did drop yesterday as we speculated, but we cannot attribute it entirely to the resignation of the finance minister, as we discussed in depth yesterday. There's been a lot of factors that have been leading to this. So 0.39% depreciation yesterday, 32,201 points. So we had 23 losers on the exchange, led by Champions Breweries. We had only 18 gainers, led by CNI Leasing. We still had 360 odd naira to the dollar. The market so far this year is down by 15.8% for the month. We're down by 7.5. So I want to welcome Bunmi and Dolapo in the studio. Good morning, lady and gentleman.
Good morning, Rotus. Good morning, Lagos.
All right.
Good morning, Rotus. Good morning, Folu. Good morning, Lagos.
Good to have you guys. Good to have you guys in here. Frank, real quick. Frank sent in a question about Cement Company of Northern Nigeria. I think it was asking about the stock. There was a question. I think it was about dilution or so. But our analyst yesterday answered. I think it was on YouTube. It's still an attractive buy, all right? So, but remember that you do have to consult a broker before you make any choice. But according to ARM, they do like the Cement Company of Northern Nigeria. All right, Bunmi, how far with the money market? What goes on over there?
Okay, I think the most significant trend to mention is the upward trend in clearing rates at both the NTB and the OMO auctions. NTB for the 1 year cleared at 13.5, up from 13.04 from the last auction. For the OMO auction, stop rates for the March maturity cleared at 12.5, up from 12.15.
Okay.
CBN introduced a longer tenor, a 324-day bill that cleared at 13.2, and then they tried to initiate a 364-day bill. But I think because of the range of bids, the range was 14 to 14.5, which I think was a bit too high for CBN. So they released a no-sale result. So I think 14% is kind of a rate that the CBN doesn't want to go beyond, at least not for now.
Okay.
So the question really is, considering that inflation figures are out and we've, for the first time in 19 months, seen something a little bit higher than the previous inflation rates, will they change anything significant at the MPC? MPC is holding next week, Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. All right. Thank you. And thanks. You've already mentioned it, Doc, but we were supposed to talk about this yesterday, but we didn't have enough time. Inflation, as Bunmi just mentioned, it inched up 11.23% for the month of August, up from I think 11.14 in the prior month. In July, we're talking about it downstairs now. Mostly food, yeah.
In this part of the world, what really makes inflation go high or low is basically major components are the food, that's the food basket or the food index, and also energy. So right now is food. Why? Because what's going on in the food belt of Nigeria. So in states like Kogi, Niger, Benue, you have flooding. You also have, which is a natural disaster.
Right.
And you have Fulani cattle herdsman, which is a natural disaster, combining to reduce farming activities in those areas. So the floods, then the herdsmen too.
And everything else around there. Okay, and speaking of floods, I believe NIMA, the Emergency Management Agency, there was an announcement they made either yesterday or the day before about more floods to come for the areas that you've mentioned. There was a massive flood in a local community in Delta that wiped out a number of businesses and farming utilities there, and so it's pretty nasty stuff. So we have to brace ourselves.
My problem is also the government always, when the flood, everybody knew that the bit of rainfall and in this time there'll be issues of flood.
Right.
But we always wait till the flood to actually come, then we give you food and mattresses and say, you understand, we should try and all these things can be avoided to a large extent.
Right. By the way, President Buhari has handed out, I think it was about 3 billion naira to NIMA in order to handle this, but I don't know if that amount is going to be enough.
It's basically for food, mattresses, and all that.
And so on. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so there's so much to talk about today. Okay, shall we do the quick presidency's response to HSBC?
Yeah.
Lagos, just to follow up, we talked about this last week, the HSBC reports that was released, Nigeria papering over the cracks, where they were talking about how everything looks good on the surface because oil prices are higher and the CBN has been able to
I'd like to read it.
But yeah, go ahead.
The bank stated that while all higher oil prices had boosted Nigeria's external reserve position, which is true, and provided a veneer of macro stability, which is true.
Yeah.
The economy's oil dependency and structural shortcomings are evident in the tepid pace of growth and fiscal fault. I agree totally with HSBC.
And they said that the second term of Buhari is not going to lead to any growth.
Yeah, but that's basically saying that the morning tells the day.
Right.
You understand? My point is that instead the government to try and address, because these are concerns for everybody, even there's no analyst in Nigeria that would disagree with what HSBC is saying. It's an open secret.
Right.
But I expect the government to respond like, okay, yes, we are aware of these things, but we're doing A, B, C, D to counter this thing. But no, they go all...
Yeah, so what
They
happened?
go,
Garba
the response
Shehu,
is
Abi?
that HSBC is into money laundering, Abacha loot. I don't understand I don't think the correlation between that.
Yeah.
I mean, HSBC as a bank has sent a report, which is what they normally do.
Right.
And given the verdict concerning our economy and the economic policies of our current president, our own response should be, and I think the government, I think this kind of response should not come from the presidency.
Right.
I think the Minister of Finance or the CBN people or the special advisor to the governor, to the president on economic affairs or the economic advisor should respond and give a very proper, as a technical, respond and say, look, we are aware of all these things, but these are the things we are putting in the state to mitigate all these things. But no, it's all conspiracy theories and no. I don't understand that.
What do you think?
Yeah, the truth is that HSBC is leaving sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
They're focusing more on Asian markets and European markets. So the government's response will not change anything about HSBC. I thought it was an opportunity for them to highlight so many of the accomplishments, all the interventions that CBN has done for agriculture, for the manufacturing sector, for power, this would have been an opportunity for them to highlight these things in response to what HSBC said. So we might not have gotten it right completely, but at least these are the steps we have taken so far. Even some of the reforms in tax, they should have highlighted that to address some of the issues that HSBC made. In my opinion, they should have just ignored HSBC's write-up if they didn't have anything better to say than this.
So my point is, first of all, what are the achievements? You understand? We just said that the food inflation is going high. You understand? So what's there?
Gotcha.
I haven't had light for some time in my house, so I don't really understand what's going on.
All right, guys.
So I'm putting for to the man on the street, all these things is just gibberish. We really need to see all these things.
Actual tangible changes. All right. We mentioned this on the marketplace. You guys should tune into the marketplace on Monday afternoons from 5:15 p.m. A new circular that was released by the Central Bank of Nigeria says that as part of a circular which they released regarding electronic payments. The title of the circular is a circular on the regulation on instant interbank electronic fund transfer services in Nigeria. One of the outcomes of this is that banks are going to pay a 10,000 naira fine for every failed electronic funds transfer that isn't reversed within 24 hours after a complaint from a customer. Is this, you think they can execute this?
Well, I hope they can, because I understand why it's frustrating for you to transfer money. Your account is debited and then the recipient doesn't get the funds.
Right.
But my issue is two things. One, I think 10,000 naira isn't really scientific. I thought it should have been a percentage of the amount being moved instead. Because if you're moving 2,000 naira and then you're charging a bank 10,000 naira for not being able to move 2,000 naira,
right.
I don't think that's really correct.
Okay.
Then the second thing is, will they give allowance for legitimate downtimes? Because no matter how you
network
look
issues,
at it, there are always network issues. So I think that they should have allowances for these kind of issues as well.
Dolapo, your thoughts?
My own is that nearly every CBN circular nowadays has a fine in it. and it gives me a lot of concern because our regulators here seem to think that your job is just to go out to bust and punish people. So any small thing, fine. Punitive, you understand? It's not like that. First of all, our infrastructure is monkey.
Right.
You understand? So all these things happen. I think basically they should basically put a circular to try and enhance that infrastructure and make it better. And 1,000 naira fine to me is also 10,000 naira fine to me is also very, very steep. You understand? So another round of fines again.
Let me just speak for the average guy on the road, right? And the people who generally experience this day in, day out. You may think it's quite steep, but people generally complain that when they do go to the banks and they complain about it, nothing really gets done, and it happens over and over and over again. So perhaps it's a punitive measure to ensure that they are on top of their stuff, they are on top of whatever it is that needs to happen. So even if you can't refund straight away, at least address the problem. Just yesterday I had this conversation with a very young girl, she's about 19 or so, who says it's a particular banking institution that she's gone there several times to say, every time you debit me, it's way more, the transfer fee is way more than it needs to be. So she could transfer I don't know, 1,000 naira and end up with, if she had 20,000 there before, suddenly it's 17,000 something. I mean, that's crazy for somebody her age. And she's been to the desk several times. Nothing happens.
You know what? I think then that CBN should zero in on the banks that have this problem, because the truth is that this has happened to me before.
Okay.
I've gone to an ATM. My account was debited, but I didn't get cash.
Yes.
And the security guard at the point said, "Madam, don't worry. Before the end of today, you will get the money back." And really, I did. I didn't even have to complain about it. It happened to me twice. So So I think maybe some particular banks have that issue, and then they should address it.
Okay. We've got a few messages coming in very quickly. Josh Alimosho, first of all, saying that we're not saying anything necessarily new, but our monolithic economy has been here since the 60s. Even elementary school pupils will know it by now. While Gwenga Kamu says, is it rocket science to restructure the economy and make it more productive? The government tactic of attacking the messenger, that's HSBC, and not the message. Right. And Yinka says, while having a discussion with some colleagues of mine, we agreed that this government is just made up of liars. Ooh. I doubt if Nigerians know we're still in a recession. When containers bring in goods into the country, what do they take out? Over 50% leave Nigeria empty, so where is the balance of trade? What happens if the price of oil drops? Why are they not telling Nigerians the truth about this?
Strong points, Yinka. Strong points. All right. Do we have enough time for this particular story? The Punch has a report out on something called fake bank alerts. This is more of a Tech Friday story, but they just released it. They didn't want it to be stale by Friday. It says fake bank alerts, a silent monster that's threatening the cashless policy. And I heard about this in a WhatsApp group. I didn't believe it was true until now the Punch is writing about it. Essentially, this is more targeted towards small business owners. People are going to buy goods from them and defrauding them by being able to manipulate fake alerts to their phones. And there was a number of instances. A guy who was selling electronics, a guy who sold a car, a lady who was selling fabrics at the market. It's a very long story, but I can't go into the entire thing. But just wanted to get your thoughts. Is this something you've heard before as far as this particular threat? Because each of them said that, look, I'm not doing cashless again. I'm not buying anything. I'm not selling my goods with POS. I want cash from now on. Based on this, what do you think?
This is actually the first time I'm hearing of it.
Right.
And I don't think the few instances of this problem should stop us from encouraging the cashless society.
Policy.
There's no more good than bad.
Right.
You know, so I think that for a preventive measure, instead of then just depending on an alert, actually log into your account and check to make sure whatever is credited are actually there.
Doc, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that also.
Yeah. Okay. So more message.
I don't get POS. I want raw cash. Benga Akamu says, the times my monies have been wrongly debited by my bank and it was so stressful retrieving the money, even the amount spent calling customer service, yes, because they charge you, may top the amount debited if one is not careful. Facts. Olumide says it's good for CBN to want to punish banks, but will CBN also punish NIBSS because sometimes the delay on reversal sits with NIBS and at their time and at other times a third party bank. Rainmaker comments, very lengthy, but says, allow Garba, I'm not going to say that's rude, says, I think HSBC deserve a response, but the unfortunate thing about the issue is that there is no perfect response for them because everything in Nigeria we say is something that is not visible to the ordinary man on the street. And Bunmi, are we expecting changes in FX rates soon? It's not such a funny joke.
No, Rainmaker, that was very clever. I'm taking that. I'm going to take that one. He
Henry Emmanuel says, with that regressive response to a very ordinary HSBC report, we just reinforced the idea that we are papering over cracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I quickly just answer his question?
Yes.
FX rates.
FX rate. If you notice, for the wholesale auction, CBN is already converging rates. If you notice the marginal rates for the wholesale auctions on Monday, they've been tending towards black market.
Okay.
359 point something was the last marginal rate. So I see a convergence between those two rates to 360.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
And Stephen, finally, is our last comment. He says, fake bank alerts exist. The best you can do is reconfirm the amount from your account officer.
All right. Thank you so much. All the messages. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate the interaction. Dolapo and Bunmi, as always, I appreciate you guys coming in.
We appreciate you too.
Thank you very much. To everyone out there, do keep listening because we have some fantastic music lined up for you. And then at 7:30 is detailed newspaper analysis inside of Freshly Pressed.
What the garbage? What is
Garbage shavu.
Garbage.